welcome back to Agent Content Creators. My guest today is phenomenal. He's a guy out of San Diego, the only guy I trust in San Diego, and that's Dan Parker. Dan's doing some amazing things on YouTube. He went from getting no leads on YouTube a while ago to doing very well. So we'll talk to him about that and talk to some of the other content creation things that he's doing. Dan, welcome to Real Agent Content Creators. Real, I have to do that in there. Welcome to Real as well.
What is going on? Yeah, both of those things are pretty phenomenal, but happy to be here.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, so let's walk us through this. Obviously you made the change to Reel recently. We can talk about that later. As far as your content creation, you've been doing YouTube for how long, and what are you starting to see now from it?
Sure. So, man, when did we start chatting on on Facebook and making fun of each other's thumbnails? Like about a year and a half ago, something like that.
Yeah.
So we started. I probably started about 2 years ago, but maybe started doing it right about a year and a half ago. And it took a while. It took a while for things to get going for me. I was talking with a lot of people like you and a lot of other people that were kind of doing the same thing and seeing people have success really early on. But I knew that it was going to work out. So it probably took about a year from me starting to do it like really regularly to start getting some business, and or maybe just under a year. But once it started happening, man, the floodgates open. I know we've talked about this before, like right around 1,000 subscribers is when I started to get really consistent leads. And they're the best. They're the best leads. They already know, like, and trust me. And there's not really a lot of convincing going on. They know how much work I put into informing them before they've even met me. So they really trust what I have to say. And my business just exploded last year. Yeah, I mean, I did more business last year than the other 3.5 years combined that I was in the industry. So it's all thanks to YouTube.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, my path was very similar. I think a lot of people were inbound to Austin at the time, so I was hitting it right at the right time, obviously in the middle of the pandemic. So so you started this channel. Were you consistent from the beginning, or were you just like putting out a video? Like, what did that look like at the very beginning?
In the beginning, I was very consistent because it was right at the beginning of COVID and things just slowed down for a little bit. So it was fairly easy to be consistent. And I also just knew that, you have to be consistent with something in this industry to have success, and you have to be doing it for a long enough period of time. So I had enough faith in the fact that I needed to do a video every single week for things to work out. Once you get to a certain level, if you miss a week here or there, it's not going to be detrimental. I ended up getting so busy at the end of last year. I over the course of like 3 or 4 months, I did maybe one a month when I really was doing one a week. So it's not ideal. I'm just recovering from that now. I've been consistent again from the last probably 2 or 3 months of doing it every single week. But yeah, pretty much consistent from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing that happens too. Here's two things that happen with agents. Either they get so busy from leads that they stop doing videos, or they just get so burnt out because they're not getting any leads that they
Yep.
just go, forget it. Do you think there was a point where you were like, I'm not getting any leads out of this. Is this even worth the time and effort?
I mean, yeah, those thoughts go through your head, but I don't know. I had all the confidence in the world because I knew I was never going to be a door knocker or cold caller, and I knew I didn't want to chase business. I just had to figure out how to attract business, and I saw enough people having enough success that I just knew it was going to work out.
You're going through this process, you start getting leads and you start getting too busy to do video. Do you think that if people are planning on getting busy, they should do something to prepare for that, maybe batch some content? Or what do you think about that?
And that's what I had the opportunity to start doing this year. So basically at the beginning of this year, I started batch creating. So I'll plan out 2 or 3 videos and then I'll record them all at the same time. And then I'll throw them over to my editor. But some of the tips, like starting out, yes, batch create if you can. It's kind of hard in the beginning, I think, if you're doing it all yourself, if you're filming it, if you're editing it, if you're doing everything, because it's a tremendous amount of work. I mean, I know you agree with that, Jeremy. It's a tremendous amount of work if you're doing everything. But once you have the opportunity to start outsourcing some of that, then it makes it a little bit easier to batch create, because I can just spend 2 hours filming 3 or 4 videos, send it off to my editor, and then I have content for the next 3 months. But I definitely recommend, like, pretty much my goal is at the beginning of the week, I'm going to get my thumbnail, my title, and my video outline done. If I am not able to record it that week, then that's fine, because then I'll push it to the next week and I will do 2 videos. So that way, that's what I've started doing this year, and it's really been working out well for me.
So on your channel, as far as the content goes, what content do you think, if you're a brand new agent or even an agent that's been doing this, what do you think is there some content that you have to be making in order to start actually attracting business?
Like you were saying, it's just important to be consistent. That's really important. And then I think you kind of think of it in 2 terms of like what's the broad reach videos that you can make, and then what are the more niche videos that you can make that are going to draw people into your area or your specific niche. So the types of content that we do are moving to your area. That's a really easy route to go because that's what people are searching. So if you want to get started with that, you really just need these big videos that people are actually searching for. So what is it like moving to blank? Well, what are the pros and cons? What actually does really well is like what you should have are the worst things about living in
Yeah.
blank. What are some of the other ones? Like, don't buy a home in these areas. You may have to be a little bit careful about how that content is delivered, but just these types of videos that people are actually actively searching for when they're doing research on moving to an area. And then the more niche stuff that I do is like actual neighborhood tours where I get a videographer, a little bit higher quality videos. And then like now I'm starting to focus on living by the beach. If I can attract anybody, I want to start attracting people that want to be in the areas that I love going to the most. So I've been doing a lot more videos on what it's like living by the beach in San Diego, as opposed to just here's information about everything San Diego has to offer. And then another thing I've done, and I know you've done too, Jeremy, is like you can also get even bigger and go for your whole state, depending on how big your local area is. So I've done some videos on California, like same type of stuff I was talking about, but for California, and those have done pretty well too.
I was about to make a comment because we've gone back and forth for the longest time about face on, face off videos,
Yeah.
right? And I was about to say your moving to video, right, had 6.3 K views, man. That's awesome. That's one of your best if you look at the two next to it, but then 14,000 views for the one
Yeah.
below it, 12,000 for the other. So what was the mistakes you were making at the beginning, and what tweaks did you make to change it?
No, and this is good because you have my page up. So scroll down to the very bottom. So this is in order of when the videos started to come out. So I actually just went on recently and purged some of the videos that I had on there. The ones on the bottom, like top 3 questions to ask before buying a home, the risk for deferring your mortgage, these types of, and they have next to no views. The reality is, us as agents, we're taught to think in a certain way of like, here's what I explain to people: how to buy a house, what a earnest money deposit is, all these different things. Obviously, we all know it's good for people to be educated on these things when they're buying a house, but it's not what succeeds on YouTube unless you literally want to put out 3 videos a week on what it's like to buy a house. That's how
Right.
you succeed doing that type of thing. And
Yeah.
I don't have the energy or the capacity to do that. I would lose interest so freaking fast on that. So get out of your head, like something like that. Get into your head, like, what is your niche going to be? What is your channel going to be about? Who are you going to attract? And for us, it's people that are actively searching moving to an area. So
Right.
that's one of the really big ones. And then once you have that figured out, nothing beats consistency because you figure it out over time. But the 2 other tips I'll give are just drop the intro. If it takes you more than 15, 20 seconds to get into the content, then you're taking too long. And
Oh yeah.
like we both been there where, it's like you feel like what you're saying is 10 seconds, but it really is like 60 to 70 seconds. And then finally starting to talk about the video. And that's too long. I really, really highly recommend get in some type of accountability group, find some people that are on more or less the same level of you as you with YouTube, and then that want to be as consistent as you and have as much drive, and talk to them every single week. Send them your thumbnails, send them your videos. Just really have a really good connection with them where you're both helping each other learn what works and
Right.
what doesn't work, because they will always see things before you see them. There is so many times where I'm like, oh man, this thumbnail is great, or this thing is awesome. I'm so happy about this. And then I'll send it over to my accountability group that I've had going strong for the last year and a half with 2 other guys. And they'll be like, yeah, actually remove this or do this different. And I've been able to learn a lot from being able to connect with those guys on a weekly basis.
How many closings are you seeing per month now from YouTube?
Sure. So, it's a little bit different here than a lot of places. The median home in San Diego is like almost $900,000 now,
Yeah.
and the average client I'm getting from YouTube is pretty well above the median home price. So it's great because it's people that are trying to educate themselves about moving to an area. So usually they have a lot of their finances and things in line, and it's been really interesting. But so for all of last year, I closed 22 deals. It was almost 17 million in transactions,
It's awesome.
and I did about half of that was directly from YouTube, but it was significantly more than 50% of the commissions that I earned because they were higher transactions.
Right.
So, and then how many leads come in? It kind of comes in waves, just like anything else, a little bit, but every single week I'm having at least one or two Zoom meetings with buyers. And that's kind of like my qualification process. I'll qualify them a little bit via email, and then I'll get on a Zoom call with them. And then if they fill out a questionnaire for me, that's like my funnel to know what stage they're in. And I do at least one or two of those a week. Sometimes I'll have like five or six. And I would say like the closing rate on them is pretty significant. So
Pretty
it's
high.
it's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Now, do you think because of YouTube and the content you're doing at a certain point, you're going to actually have to grow and have a team from this?
Yeah, it just happened. So I just brought on my first agent a couple of weeks ago. Just knowing how busy I got at the end of last year, like I did zero transactions Q1 last year. Q2 I did good. Q3 and 4 I could barely keep one foot in front of the other just with everything that was going on. So I know the projection of this and what's going on right now. So I brought on an agent, and I have someone else helping me more of like an operations standpoint as well. So
Nice.
we're going to be able to double down on video for YouTube. We're going to be able to double down on video for Instagram and everything else. That's what we're working on right now.
My next question then would be, so you're doing YouTube, you're doing well, it sounds like you're doubling down and just continuing to do content on YouTube. I see a lot of people moving into the vertical stage, right? Tom Ferry's huge in vertical and doing shorts. I noticed on your YouTube channel, you're doing some shorts. Are you seeing success from shorts, or do you think it's just something an agent should have on their channel just to have another kind of bucket on YouTube?
So yes, I started doing the vertical videos, the short content that people really like these days.
I
Basically,
mean, these
so
views aren't going to be correct, but they're close to correct. So you're looking at most of your videos, you're getting about 800-ish views on most of these shorts. Your
yep,
long form is about, 1,000, 1,500 per view.
yep,
So it looks like, but the problem that I found with shorts is like, this is only what, a minute, a minute, a minute. If they're watching 80 seconds, or sorry, 50 seconds of that, but they're watching 5 minutes of this other video, that's where I think a lot of people are running into problems with shorts. I'll let you talk about shorts, but that's what I'm kind of seeing on my experience with shorts. So curious, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no, that's totally fine. So I'll take one step back and then I'll get back into YouTube and then I'll ask you some questions because we're kind of
Sure.
going down the same path on this, and I'd
Yeah.
love to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah.
So basically, my thought was, I as far as like content I put out, I really focus on YouTube and Instagram. And my goal
Yeah.
is from YouTube is to bring new people into my sphere, get new people to know, like, and trust me. And then Instagram is once they already know, like, and trust me a little bit, then they get to know the real me. They get to know me behind the scenes. They get to interact with me on a more personal level. And then I can just constantly stay in front of them on there. I mean, there's nothing like it still to this day blows my mind. I have around 1,000 followers on Instagram. And if I do Instagram story every single day, I'll get 200 people watching my story.
Yeah. Good.
Like 20% of the people, or a little bit less than 20% of the people, are going onto their phone on a daily basis to see what I have to say. Like there's nothing, there's nothing else that's like that. It will never stop blowing my mind. So that's always been my way of staying in front of my sphere. Reels, you see people starting to do reels. I mean, as a real estate agent, if you follow other real estate agents, it's just my whole feed is just real estate agents
Oh, I
doing
know.
reels.
And you probably see mine now where I'm drunk with a
Yeah.
parrot. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and that's what, but here's the thing is it works. Like I'll put on a reel and 10 minutes later, I'll get 3,000 views
Yeah. It's
and
crazy.
it doesn't make any sense. And I remember looking at my metrics and it had shot up like 12,000% the amount of views I was getting on my Instagram because I started doing reels. So there's a lot to be said about that. And this kind of goes back into the YouTube thing too, because on all these different platforms, whenever there's something new that they're pushing, you should almost always try that new thing because they're going to push the heck out of it. They're going to promote the heck out of your content. It's the same thing when, Facebook started with their live videos. Like they would give everyone a notification. They would blast everybody.
Yep.
You get information about the live. Like they really, really rewarded you for using that new program. When Instagram started with Instagram stories, they set up the app in a way that like you couldn't get away from people's stories in the beginning. So people were getting excessive views on their stories. Same thing with IGTV and now with Reels. They really promote the heck out of these new programs. So, it's hard for us as agents to not have like shiny object syndrome, but you
Oh God.
also want to see the value in when they give you these opportunities because they don't last. They don't last forever. They're not going
Right.
to promote Reels like this forever. And, until they promote the next thing that they're going to promote.
Exactly.
So,
I'm at the point right now, I don't think it hurts to have shorts, but I don't think it helps to have shorts either. So, and
okay.
I think if you, depending on, if you go down the shorts rabbit hole, that's kind of like the conundrum everybody comes up with. There's all this
Mhm.
data on one side that shows, yeah, it brings in this, but it also hurts here. And so every time I get down looking at my content, looking at my data, I'm just like, I don't see where it's helping me. And so what I did last night on my live stream, I was like, look, in the comments, I want to hear from you. Do you watch my shorts and do you like them? Should I continue them? Just write comments. And people were commenting, yeah, we watch them, we love them. So I know at least my audience is watching them, but I don't think it's actually getting me a new audience. I think the problem with shorts is people are wanting to watch short form content, are coming on your channel and watching short form content. People are coming and watch long form content or watching long form content, and they're not, the short forms aren't crossing over enough to watch the long form. And that's, if you're trying to shoot shorts, you're wanting to get people into the other videos. I think that's where my data has gotten me so far, but I don't think it hurts and I don't think it helps.
So the question I would ask is, because here's the interesting thing. Okay, so we're talking about Instagram Reels. Now we're talking about Shorts. You probably do the same thing as me, where you make an Instagram Reel or a TikTok, and then you bring it the same video over to these other platforms. Because why not?
Yeah. Why
Um,
not?
so that's what I do. I upload my video into Reels. I use their caption system. It works good enough. It looks really
Yeah.
cool. It looks really flashy. So I don't care about the one
I've
out of
never been
every
able to
20 words that's
download
wrong.
it that way I can upload it then to YouTube. For whatever
Yep.
reason, I haven't figured that part out.
No, I could show you. I could show you later.
Okay, cool,
It's
sweet.
not too hard. And then we put it onto Shorts. So the interesting thing about Shorts that I've noticed is when you look at the videos that you post, I don't know if you've been experiencing the same thing as me, but basically I'll post a short. It'll do nothing for a day and a half. I
Yeah.
mean, like very few views. And then
Yep.
all of a sudden, in a hour to 2 hour period, you'll get hundreds of views, and then the spike just dies. And it's really
Speaking of Instagram, the first
there
thing I
we
opened
go.
is
There we go. All over Instagram
love it.
today.
Yeah.
So I guess when I'm seeing that, then it makes me think very differently from that what you're saying, Jeremy, that people are only seeing it when they go onto your page. If it
Yeah.
spikes like crazy like that, then the algorithms are pushing it out onto the homepage, and that's where people are seeing it. So whether
Right.
it's just the people that have seen your videos before or not, to me, it doesn't really matter that much. I'm still just getting more views in front of them. I also see that I'm getting subscribers out of it. So if they're subscribing to me, if they're watching my content, sure, they might not go click over and immediately go to my channel, but that's okay because YouTube's algorithm is powerful enough to know that if people
Right.
like your content, then they might like some of your other content too.
So, not to go too far down the shorts rabbit hole, but I've seen a couple people who've actually gone through and had someone go through their analytics, and if you look at how many subscribers you get from shorts, it's not proportionate to your long form
Sure.
content.
Yeah,
So
that makes
that's where
sense.
you'll get a few. Like, so I went through. So that's what I did with mine. Is I went through, if I did a 8 minute video, how many subscribers did I get off of that video? And in general, I'm looking at most videos 10 to 15 subscribers per video. And then I have some videos, it's like 1,000 subscribers, right?
Mhm.
And then when I go look at the shorts, now they're in the same time frame, right? If that other video, it might be one, minus one, one. So I don't think that it's so much so that it's like adding a ton of value, but it
Sure.
is something that I think YouTube is still trying to figure out. And
Mhm.
since they're in that finding out phase, at a certain point, they will probably start figuring out a better way to get shorts and have a crossover. So about Instagram though, are you finding a lot of success on Instagram overall? Like, are you getting leads, like people DMing you through Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, Instagram's just a different animal because if you get a lead because of Instagram, you it's a lot harder to track than YouTube video. If
Yeah.
100% of the time when someone reaches out because they watch my YouTube videos, I know they reached out because of my YouTube videos. I've never met them before. They almost always say they saw my videos and they love them and they wanted to reach out. With Instagram, I definitely get DMs, but like I was saying, this is me staying in front of the people that I already know for the most part. So as far as people finding me on Instagram and then watching my content and liking it so much that they reach out to me, it doesn't really happen as much.
Yeah.
And again, I only have a little over 1,000 followers on Instagram, so it's not like I had this huge following like Glenda Baker or something like that, where they definitely do start to get those. But even from what I'm hearing, it's not like a crazy number. I
Right.
think the power in it is staying in front of the people that you already know
Right.
and getting them to know you even more. But I get
Right.
people from YouTube, their first time reaching out on Instagram very frequently.
So, a pro tip here, on a live stream I just did last night, I was like, "Oh, if you didn't see," and I have two other agents on my live stream that are in my market that are, in my on my, I guess, team at Real. I go, "Oh, if you didn't see, I posted this on Instagram today, but I didn't post it on my YouTube community." And I posted, so I pulled up my Instagram and was scrolling through my Instagram, and I'd pop up a story and then go back to the conversation. And I was testing it out. I gained like 40 followers on Instagram within that hour and a half time frame.
Very cool.
Because
Yeah.
people that weren't really watching me on YouTube were like, "Oh shoot, he's on Instagram." So, pro tip, you might want to try to show your Instagram. Now, other pro tip, I don't know if you do this, but when I show homes on my YouTube channel that, like let's say I'm talking about a specific area and I'm going to pull up a home, I show it from my website. So if I'm showing a home, like I did a video comparing San Diego to Austin,
Hmm.
when I'm showing the Austin homes, it's on my website. Guess what happens to the traffic to my website when I do that? So
Yeah.
pro
Smart.
tip. Yeah, pro tips for everybody. So what other advice, content creation, what other advice would you give anybody that's trying to figure out this content creation and getting leads from it as from a business perspective?
Yeah, I mean, just you have to treat it just like any other form of prospecting. Like I said earlier, I don't make cold calls. I don't door knock. I really don't even make warm calls anymore. It's like I mostly just wait for people to call me or reach out to me, and that's a fantastic way to do business. But I know that that means I have to spend at least 3 to 4 hours a week creating this content so that I'm constantly in front of people. So
Yeah.
definitely stay consistent with it. Listen from people that are succeeding at a high level. You could go with Jeremy. He's doing all right, and, or Christina Smallhorn, Malcolm. I mean, there's so many people that you can follow. Consume content. That was one thing I did not do early on. I knew nothing about YouTube as far as being a consumer. Spend some time on YouTube and just
Yeah.
understand what people are doing on there. Yes, of course, other real estate agents, but find inspiration outside of real estate as well, and just be a consumer for a while, and you will really learn like what works and what doesn't work, and you'll understand from the consumer side why these long intros don't work, why people start dropping off. Think of why you're dropping off when you're watching a video. That's what other people
Exactly.
are doing when they watch your video too. So the more you can get in the head of someone watching your video and just play to that, the better you'll do. Stop thinking about what you need. Stop thinking about getting leads out of it. Just focus on providing value and making videos that people will watch and thumbnails that are clickable, and you are going to succeed at a really high level.
Love it. Love it. Dan Parker, San Diego, California. If you have any buyers, sellers in San Diego, send them his way. He's the man. He's the real man. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you subscribe, share with a friend. We will catch you on the next
Wait,
video.
wait. We have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Face on thumbnails or not? This has been the argument since day one with us, man. We have to settle it right here.
Once you grow your channel and you have a following, face on and then remove them later. Pro tip. Because your videos will do better.